buffs Russians were there too, providing security and looking like they'd rather be anywhere else in the world. Tony Marconi was the first through the door, flanked by 6 bodyguards who swept the entrance with the kind of professional paranoia that comes from years of people trying to kill you. He was a small, wiry man in his 50s who dressed like a Wall Street banker and had the dead eyes of a born predator. 53 hostiles inside the building. Colonel Mitchell's voice crackled through my earpiece from her sniper position. All armed, all dangerous, and all about to have a very bad night. Sal Benedetto came next, a fat man who wheezed when he walked and whose idea of tactical planning involved throwing money at problems until they went away. He'd brought 12 guys, all of them carrying enough firepower to start a small war. Behind them, Frank Rosado's crew, young, violent, and stupid enough to think bulletproof vests made them invincible. I was positioned on the second level, overlooking the main floor where our vault was supposedly hidden. The professor had done an excellent job creating a fake wall panel that looked like it concealed something valuable. Scattered around it were props. Empty safety deposit boxes, stacks of fake money, and documents that would look authentic from a distance. "Welcome, gentlemen," I called down to the assembled crowd, my voice echoing through the market building. "Glad you could make it to the party." Marconi looked up, his hand moving instinctively toward his gun. "Angelo Rossi, should have known you'd try something theatrical." "Tony, good to see you again. How's the family?" "Oh wait, that's right. Most of them are dead." Several of his guys raised their weapons, but Marconi waved them down. He was smart enough to know that if I wanted him dead immediately, I wouldn't be talking to him. "You said you had something that belongs to us," Benedetto wheezed from the middle of his protective circle. "I do indeed, Sal. 20 million in cash plus all of Vincent's records showing who was on his payroll. Politicians, cops, judges. Enough dirt to bury half of Quebec." "And you're just going to hand it over?" asked Rosado suspiciously. "Of course not, Frank. I'm going to sell it to you. $1 million for the location of the vault, plus safe passage out of the city for me and my crew." The 3 lieutenants exchanged glances. Dmitry Volkov, meanwhile, was studying the building with the kind of professional attention that meant he'd already spotted at least 3 of our positions. "Smart man, that Russian," Mitchell's voice whispered in my ear. "He knows this is a trap." $1 million? Marconi laughed. "For 20 million and enough blackmail material to own half the province? You're not thinking big enough, Angelo." "I'm thinking practically. Dead men can't spend money." "True enough. But there's a third option you haven't considered." "Which is?" "We kill you, take the money anyway, and save ourselves the $1 million. That was my cue. "Fire in the hole," I shouted into my radio. Chapter 5. Hell Breaks Loose. The first explosion came from the professor's chemical bombs. 6 canisters positioned around the main floor, detonating simultaneously and filling the air with a yellowish gas that smelled like sulfur and broken dreams. The compound was his latest masterpiece, an airborne hallucinogen mixed with a mild nerve agent that would have his victims seeing their worst nightmares while their nervous systems slowly shut down. Within seconds, Romano's soldiers were stumbling around, coughing and retching, their eyes streaming with tears. Some of them dropped their weapons, clawing at their faces. Others began screaming at things that weren't there. "Jesus Christ," one of Benedetto's guys yelled, firing wildly at shadows. "There's fucking spiders everywhere." The second explosion was Boom Boom's handiwork, shaped charges that brought down a section of the upper gallery, crushing 4 men under tons of 19th century stone and timber, while creating a massive cloud of dust and debris that mixed with the professor's gas to create a fog of death. But Dmitry Volkov was a professional. The moment the first canister exploded, he was screaming orders in Russian, rallying his men into defensive positions. Half of them had gas masks, which meant they'd been expecting chemical weapons, and the other half were disciplined enough to function even while breathing poison. "All units, weapons free." Colonel Mitchell's voice cut through the chaos. "Kill everything that moves." The Kowalski brothers opened up with their heavy machine guns from opposite ends of the building. Pete's M60 chewed through Romano's bodyguards like a chainsaw through kindling, the .308 rounds punching through tactical vests and bodies with equal ease. Chunks of masonry exploded as his tracers found their targets, painting the walls with blood and stone dust. Paul's gun was positioned to create a crossfire with his brothers. His first burst caught 3 of Benedetto's guys trying to take cover behind an overturned table. The heavy slugs tore them apart, sending body parts flying through the chemical fog like grotesque confetti. "Beautiful work, boys." Boom Boom's voice crackled over the radio. "Keep them in the kill zone." Victor Kozlov had positioned himself near the rear exit with what he called his crowd pleaser, a portable grenade launcher that fired 40 mm explosive rounds. His first shot took out 6 of Rosato's soldiers who'd been trying to flank our position. The explosion turned them into pink mist and flying meat, while the concussion knocked down 3 more guys who'd been standing too close. But the Russians were adapting.
Fucking Russians.
Volkov had divided his 15-man team into 3 groups, one providing covering fire, one moving to flank our positions, and one working to secure an exit. They moved with the kind of coordinated precision that comes from years of military training and actual combat experience. "These guys aren't street thugs," Mitchell observed over the radio, her voice professionally calm despite the chaos. "They know what they're doing." "Yeah, well, so do we," I replied, putting 3 rounds into a Russian who'd been trying to work his way up to the second level. He tumbled backward, his AK-74 clattering across the stone floor. Sammy came through the side entrance like an avenging angel, his vibrating knife humming with ultrasonic death. The first Romano soldier he encountered tried to bring up his shotgun, but Sammy's blade took his arm off at the elbow before he could fire. The man's scream was cut short when the knife opened his throat from ear to ear. "Sammy's in the building," I announced over the radio. "Clear your backstops." "Copy that, boss. Having a wonderful time down here." The professor's gas was working exactly as advertised on Romano's men. They were dropping their weapons and screaming at things that weren't there, pawing at their eyes and throats while the nerve agent slowly shut down their nervous systems. One guy was curled up in a corner, weeping uncontrollably and muttering about his mother. Another was trying to fight off invisible attackers, swinging his gun like a club at empty air. "Magnificent," the professor's voice came through the radio. "The psychological effects are even more dramatic than I predicted." But not everyone was affected equally. Frank Rosato had managed to get a gas mask on, and he was rallying what was left of his crew with the kind of brutal efficiency that had made him a legend in New York's underworld. "You cocksuckers want to play with gas?" he roared, pulling the pin on a grenade. "Let's see how you like some real explosives." The grenade bounced off a stone pillar and rolled toward Boom Boom's position. The old FLQ veteran saw it coming and dove behind a pile of debris just as it exploded, showering the area with shrapnel and stone fragments. "Boom Boom, report," I yelled. Still breathing, but that was closer than I like. These boys have some quality hardware. Icepick's voice came through the radio, soft and deadly. 3 targets down the rear entrance. Mr. Benedetto is trying to squeeze through a window. Shall I let him go? Negative. No survivors. Copy that. A burst of automatic fire from somewhere near the rear of the building, followed by a wet thud and silence. Mr. Benedetto has been detained permanently, Icepick reported. The battle was turning into a war of attrition. We had the advantage of position and preparation, but the Russians had numbers and professional training. For every one of them we killed, they took out chunks of the building around us with disciplined, accurate fire. A rocket-propelled grenade screamed through the air and exploded against the wall near my position, showering me with debris and leaving my ears ringing. Through the smoke and dust, I could see Volkov directing his men with hand signals, coordinating their assault like the military professional he was. "Mitchell," I shouted over the gunfire. "I need that Russian commander down." "Working on it. He's using good cover and keeping mobile." Her sniper rifle cracked, and one of Volkov's lieutenants pitched backward with his head exploded like a watermelon. But Volkov himself rolled behind a stone pillar and kept directing his team. Scarlett's voice came through the radio, calm as ice despite the chaos. "I'm in the basement with what's left of Tony Marconi. He's being very talkative about Romano family assets." I could hear screaming in the background, high, keening sounds that suggested Scarlett was conducting her interrogation with her usual attention to detail. "Learn anything useful?" "Apparently, there really is a Romano vault, but it's in New York. Also, Mr. Marconi would like to apologize for all the unpleasantness." Tell him apology accepted. Then kill him. Already working on it.